Hey, what's happening there, David?
I need help from you, Steve, this morning to figure out some data for a upcoming presentation. I need to get data regarding the industry, how many people live in community association, how many associations are in the US. But more than that, I am looking for in-depth knowledge that will help my client understand where they stand in the market. Would you have any recommendation or direction for me?
David, I'm so glad that you asked. We brought somebody today that can help you out with your presentation. Okay, so today on our show, I am pleased to tell you that we have Michelle Baldry, and she is the Northeast Regional Director for Reserve Advisors. Michelle, thank you so much for being on our show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Reserve Advisors?
Sure, Steve. Yeah, thanks for having me today. As you said, my name is Michelle Baldry, and I am the Northeast Executive Director of Reserve Advisors. At Reserve Advisors, we prepare reserve studies, about 4,000 annually across the country, and I'm in charge of kind of the logistics behind the Northeast, so Virginia on up.
Excellent. Now, buckle up, people, because Michelle is not only working for Reserve Advisors, she also is on the executive committee of the Foundation for Community Association Research. Can you tell us a little bit about this and what it means?
Gladly, David, I'd love to. Thank you for that introduction. So I currently serve as the president for the Foundation of Community Association Research. As most of you probably know, CAI just celebrated their 50th anniversary last year, which is super exciting. When CAI was established in 1973, they quickly identified the need for both research and resources for our membership. So shortly thereafter, in 1975, when CAI was a whopping 2 years old, they established the foundation. And it's really CAI's kind of sister organization. It's a nonprofit that conducts research and provides resources for our membership.
Most of what you said, I think, is somewhat self-explanatory, but can you drill down on a SNAP survey?
So SNAP surveys are intended to be really quick in nature, just a couple minutes to fill out and about 5 minutes to kind of review and comprehend. And they cover a variety of topics. So some that we've done, back to office trends is one. We did one on the use of reserve studies. The insurance coverage one was a really, really well publicized one last year as everyone saw insurance rates really rising with the hard market. We did a SNAP survey on that. So what do your rates look like? How much have your premiums increased? What do you have? What's the size of your community? So we try and cover timely topics, and they're produced periodically. And that insurance one's actually going to be run back. We're going to run that one again in the fall because it was so well received last year.
I can't wait. Where do you guys pull that data from? Because it's very, very, it's relevant. I mean, I was impressed.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. The information is really pulled from a variety of sources. Using the SNAP surveys and the insurance one as an example, the survey goes out to all of CAI's membership. And then the statistics are kind of consolidated from responses to those surveys. So the SNAP surveys in particular are from the industry, from members of CAI. The best practice reports, those are typically provided and prepared by industry leaders in their various components. So the reserve study best practices from those in the reserve study space, cybersecurity in that realm too, right? So it's industry experts, but usually within CAI. And then some of the bigger research statistical information is prepared by an independent third party as well.
We can go from cybersecurity to pickleball to insurance coverage and premiums. So like, what gives you the direction?
That's another great question. And so what we're really looking for is rising trends, trying to keep our ear to the ground. What are we hearing? And we're really, really receptive to member feedback.
So what topics are going to be explored this year, whether it's in the SNAP survey or in the industry research? Like, what's coming up?
So two topics that we've been talking about quite a bit this year are about the use of AI and EV charging stations. With technology advancing so quickly in those arenas, it's really difficult to kind of capture and provide a full report on that just yet. So we decided to start with SNAP surveys.
So I've done a little bit of research about this, but not too much, just cursory stuff before the interview. Now, I saw something called a think tank. Now, what is the goal or the purpose of the think tank?
So in 2014, the foundation established this think tank, and it's a group of industry leaders. It's a pretty intimate group, about 30 of them from a variety of backgrounds. So from insurance to engineering to management, homeowner leaders, to really discuss those emerging trends and decide on areas that likely warrant further research.
Do you think you could tell us a little bit about this? What was the Byron Hank Fellowship? What is that, and who is the most recent recipient of that?
So the fellowship is really intended to provide funding and support for a graduate student that is trying to conduct research on an area that affects our industry. So the most recent fellowship recipient is Angela Wang. She attends the University of Chicago and performed some research or conducted some research on the impacts of short-term rentals in the community association space in the Chicago metro area where she is. So essentially, we give her some funding to help support that research. She prepares a report, and all of those reports are available, including this one, for free. They're available on our website to download and review. It is an annual fellowship award that's provided, and applications are currently open right now for the 2024 Byron Hinckley Fellowship.
Well, thank you for putting it out there. And her paper is awesome. Just read it yesterday, actually. And
Awesome.
can you tell us about briefly about a couple of other resources that people should make more use from the foundation?
So there's a fact book that's put out, and it's just that. It has a lot of statistics and facts about our space, and you can drill down by states. You can see the number of associations in each state. So for that project, that's the way to go. And it was just updated, and it's really, really neat. We've kind of improved it through the website. So it's pretty interactive now, where it used to be a PDF. You can kind of click around and highlight different states and areas. So really encourage you to check that out on the website, and it's all free of charge. We have best practice reports. There's 12 of them, variety of topics from governance to financial operations, security, reserves, and most recently maintenance. That one was just released recently, and it's a really, really great document. And again, these are all free, able to download them from our website. Those timely research products or research reports. And so those are when needs are identified. So Wired is an example of one that covers cybersecurity. Breaking Point is one that covers aging infrastructure and the need to fund and take care of our infrastructure. And that was actually created prior to Surfside even happening, right? So that's an example of something that came out of the think tank. They identified, hey, our communities are aging, and we really need to ensure that we're not allowing this deferred maintenance to happen. So they conducted this report, put it together, and then Surfside happened. So certainly they weren't anticipating a Surfside, but that just goes to show some of the research that's conducted and things that they're identifying as needs, and an example of how we're trying to get that information out there to the industry to ensure we're doing something to improve that. There's also the highly anticipated manager salary survey. So that's intended to help both managers and employees in our industry, as well as CEOs and presidents of management companies, to evaluate what's going on in the market, right? So help them provide competitive salaries. It's really great. You can break that down by location. You could break it down by title. So whether it's a kind of junior assistant manager or a large scale manager with various credentials. And if you complete that, you receive that free of charge too. If you don't complete it, you can purchase it. Snap surveys, we covered those. So really quick one-pagers that provide a lot of really great details about certain topics. So from pickleball to maintenance, structural inspections is one that's being performed, and then the AI and EV charging stations that I mentioned. And lastly, the homeowner satisfaction survey. So this is conducted periodically and evaluates sort of the overall satisfaction in our industry. This one's pretty neat because it is conducted by an independent third party, and it's not just CAI members. So it is polling and taking into account both members and non-members to get an understanding of the overall state of the community association space. So the most recent one found that 89% of homeowners in community associations were either very satisfied, or neutral about living in association, which we see as a pretty positive number. It's underway now.
I have learned a lot in just a very, very short amount of time chatting you, Michelle. Thank you so much. Now, I clearly you are really deep into this industry. So somebody had to give you some sort of inspiration along the way. So we'd love to give you the microphone and just tell us about somebody or something that's been influential along your journey and help bring you to where you are today.
So when I entered the industry about 14 years ago, I knew nothing about community associations. I didn't live in one growing up. I was an engineer by trade that did land development and made the switch into the community association space. And it was a really, really fascinating experience for me to see how many people move into associations and have no idea what they're purchasing into, right? And it's overwhelming, especially for board members. And when I was absolutely blown away with all the resources that they provide. And that's just in my nature to want to educate and promote and make sure that we're all doing the best we can with what limited time and resources we have, and was just really, really impressed with this group. It's a really fantastic organization, and I knew that I just had to do everything I could to be a part of it. So if you have any questions, you want to know more, you want to volunteer, you want to donate, whatever the case may be, I'd be happy to chat with you about it one-on-one and help kind of move our industry forward.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being such a strong advocate for all community associations across the US. Steve, thank you so much for being with us.
Of course, so very welcome, David.
And we'll see you next week on the next episode of Car Chat.